Good morning. Apparently everything fun that I want to do, I have to wake up before 6, and I really got to stop doing that. I really need sleep. But whatever, just another day. So we are going to go meet my best friend Brian, who was in my last camping video. We are going to go use the Sprinter van that he and his dad custom built, and we are going to take it to the Smokies. So I'm super excited. I've always been wanting to do van life, so now this is a good little taste of what van life is actually going to be like. And so I can somewhat get an idea of what I want in a van if I ever decide to pursue that. So it's really exciting, and it's just going to be a good time. We're going to fly fish and just hang out, so stay tuned. First off, how majestic does that van look in this setting? With it being fall and all the fall leaves, I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. And we're staying in the Cataloochee Campground, which is on the North Carolina side of the Smokies. It's in Waynesville, but we were going to fly fish, and look how close we are to the river. It's fantastic, and we were there just for 2 days, or 3 days, I guess, and 2 nights. Here's a quick little look at the van inside. I don't have all the dimensions and specs and everything because I didn't ask for that from Brian, but his dad custom built this whole van, and it looks great. It was very functional. Everything had its place. It was perfect. I was so excited that this was the first van I've ever gotten to kind of attempt to van life in. So this is pretty wild. There's an elk just roaming through the campground. So elk is pretty interesting. I've only seen elk in Colorado in the Rockies, and I maybe saw like 10 to 15 the whole time I was there. It was wild to see them in North Carolina. I know that they were reintroduced back into the Cataloochee Valley, which is I think currently where we're at, in 2001, but I've only seen the signs for them. I've never actually seen them. So to see them in the campground and grazing behind these people's tents and just walking up to like the vans and cars and just walking through having no worries in the world, that was very wild to see, because I just think of elk being so wild and just distant that you never see them. But even if you go past the campground, you'll get to these fields where there will just be constant elk activity at a certain point in the year. There was probably like 20 to 30 elk on both sides of the road. So it was really nuts. A bunch of people will stop on the road and get out of their car just to take pictures. You'll even get to hear them bugling. I'll try to stop talking so you can hear it, but very fascinating to hear. And I mean, we were well within probably 20 to 30 yards of these elk, and they didn't spook. Some of them have collars, which I assume is for scientists to track, or I guess the wildlife and game wardens to track or whatever. But it was just really cool to see, and I know I've been saying cool and fascinating a lot, but seriously, it was one of the coolest things. And they look very weird when they run. Front legs and back legs at the same time move. They don't gallop like a horse. It's kind of wild. And this one, he must have been kicked from the group because there was another bigger male elk out there, but he was just by himself on the other side of the road, just doing his own thing. And we got a few great pictures of him too. So hiking in the Smokies is really cool. The trails are very well maintained, but also, of course, depending on what time you go, you can see just beautiful nature, like the leaves changing. I always took the leaves changing for granted when I lived in Boone, but now that I don't live in Boone anymore, I appreciate it so much more. Some of the trails here, you can really cover some elevation gain very quickly. and you might have to come to some water crossings. We did cover a lot of elevation gain, but we did not do any of the water crossings because of the lack of clothes that we had. And these rivers are so mesmerizing. They can get kind of narrow, but then they definitely branch out in the width, and they're perfect places to fly fish, which was one of the main reasons why we went to the Smokies, to this specific location.
Nice catch.
Thanks. You got the video on?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a wily little guy.
Ooh, nice.
Look at that. All right.
Pretty.
There he goes.
Super fast.
And if you go past the fields where all the elk are, you will come to these old abandoned schools and churches. It was kind of eerie and spooky. I mean, it'd be awesome to go there at night. You'd scare the crap out of yourself, but it's really cool to see. Those chairs and desks were not comfortable at all. If they went to school like what we do now for multiple hours through the day, I don't know how you could stand it. And look, even more elk. This is us leaving. So when we first saw the elk, it was the night before, but now we're leaving and it's probably about 10 or 11. And there's still just elk constantly in these fields. I was going to get some video of us fly fishing, but because of the video you are currently watching, I decided to take my GoPro for a swim without its waterproof case. I have the Hero 3, so it doesn't come waterproof. So yeah, I took a swim, so now the audio doesn't work. But thank you for checking out this video. If you liked it, like and subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you have any recommendations on the Smokies, leave them in the comments.